is off limits. We want to answer your questions about business, life, and everything in between. Send your questions to ask@beckandliz.com. That's ask@beckandliz.com, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. In the meantime, I have a question, Elizabeth, that actually stems from our conversation with Nancy Friedman of the telephone doctor. She talked about the power of words and certain words that she and her family won't even utter. And I thought her point was pretty spot on in terms of how powerful words are in your life. What were your thoughts when she was talking about that? Did anything pop up for you in your own life or in your families or in our business?
Yeah, I think, hold on. He's loudly telling Joseph to be quiet so that I'm recording.
You know what? We're talking about the power of words. I think this is appropriate. I thought it was hilarious. Whoever you're talking to is out of the scene and you're like very animate. Whatever you're saying, I'm getting, sometimes it's not the words, it's the expressions, Elizabeth.
Yeah, so maybe we should not edit that out. I'm like, so he pours dog food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm recording. And then he goes and tells Joseph something through the bedroom door. Our house is wide open, so I can hear all of that. So I'm muting myself. Then he sits here and he says, Joseph, be quiet. Your mom is recording loudly.
He loves you. He's trying to take care of you.
Trying to look out for me very loudly.
Look out for you very loudly.
So on that note, here was what I was going to say. What I was going to say is, I think in family dynamics, when you are respectful and when you are trying to communicate respectfully, clearly shut up is bad. Cursing at people is bad. But there are certain things people have been through in your life that you know about. And I remember one time I said something to Donald in a way that his ex-wife used to say to him. And it was just a very sensitive thing. It was very touchy, and I realized it. And once we got through being mad, I said, I will never say that to you again. I will not go that route because I understand where that's coming from. And he did the same for me. I think, so to me, sometimes you don't know that something you say or the way that you put something or a tone of your voice even is going to be something that someone is sensitive to. And I don't think you can always avoid it. But when it happens, you can recognize it and say, I am not going to say that particular phrase to you again, because I understand that that's something that's touchy for you. So I think sometimes it's an individual thing where you have to learn what those, I don't love the word triggers, but what those triggers are.
Right. Right.
Because I think it's overused, but they do trigger feelings in you that take you back to a place you don't want to be. Right. So I think when you're trying to build relationships, understanding where people are coming from and what their past experience has been is incredibly valuable in acknowledging that your words and actions and behaviors and even tone of voice have power, and you need to use it for good.
Yeah.
Like I just clearly did.
You did. You got the job done, Elizabeth.
Notice there's no one talking now.
I don't care what you were saying. I was going to obey based on your instructions a minute ago. It's like, okay, I'm going to toe the line there.
What are you doing?
So, it's interesting, this idea of the power of words, because it's not just the words, it's the intention behind a word, the inflection in your voice, etc. I have a family member, and someday I'm going to actually sit down with this family member and have a conversation, who is a relentless, he thinks he's teasing, but it's really, all the teasing is in a critical way, picking at someone's weaknesses, right? And I think you can tease and you can play in certain areas, at somebody's blind spots or weaknesses. But when you continue on teasing, criticizing, pointing out things, it's no longer funny. It's no longer a joke. It's no longer just fun teasing. It is painful for the person that hears it, and it comes across as criticism or disapproval or a lack of respect or whatever it is. And I don't think in many cases, especially those that are natural teasers, that I don't think they deliberately do that. I don't think they mean to invalidate someone or disrespect someone. They think it's funny or it's cute. And teasing is an adolescent kind of behavior. We did a lot of it when we found someone cute, right? We teased them, we poked fun at them, we made fun of them. So it usually you outgrow this teasing with words side by the time you're an adult and moves on. But for some, it doesn't. And I've seen it in business, I've seen it in my own personal life, that words, if given in a certain way, can heal, they can empower, they can edify, they can elevate. And if it's done in another way, it can destroy and cause disconnection and deflate individuals. So I think Nancy's point about words was a very important one for all of us.
Agreed. And my oldest son, when he was growing up, probably still now, if you're not in a joking way, if you're kind of mad at him and you're sarcastic, he cannot stand that.
Yeah.
For some reason, that method of communication, how you can get mad with somebody and just go, yeah, right. Well, be sarcastic.
Yeah, sarcasm. Mm-hmm.
And I tend to do that. Cannot stand it.
Yeah.
So I have to be very careful not to do that with him, because, and it's hard when he was like 15-year-old boys, man, hard not to be sarcastic.
There's so much to be sarcastic about.
So much that they should know, and they just don't. You just think, and I have this tendency that my Hannah especially teases me about saying, what is wrong with you? And I can say it two different ways. They can do something like leave bobby pins in the refrigerator. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Who leaves bobby pins in the refrigerator? Like, how does that even happen? Or I can say, you seriously made that choice. What is wrong with you? Completely different meanings.
Different tone of voice, different meaning. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about the power of words, but it's also about how you're using them.
How you're using it. Yeah. Is it?
Because that's a phrase I use a lot in a lot of different contexts. So
yeah. What is wrong with you?
Like just now, what is wrong with you? You were yelling, be quiet.
Oh, yeah. My daughter uses one that is kind of funny. When she first started, I'm like, wow, that sounds terrible. She says, you weirdo, to her kids. And it's actually a term of endearment in her family, meaning you're unique, you're weird, you think differently. But the first couple times I heard it, I'm like, she just called her kid a weirdo.
Yeah.
But it's
their language.
It's their language and the way they talk. Oh my goodness, this topic we could go on and on and on about. But in the meantime, we do have to wrap up. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships are forged. This is Beck and Liz signing off and wishing you another purpose-filled and profitable week.